We're the Moore twins, Laney and Logan Moore. Watch Cheeseworks for the best 305 sprint car coverage from Knoxville to Kansas City.
My name is Braxton Gibson, and for the best E-Mod coverage, check out KC Cheeseworks. I'm Jake Starmer. I drive the 11J Pure Stock, and for the best stock car coverage, watch Cheeseworks videos.
Hi, I'm Tyler Starmer, the driver of the 11S Pure Stock. For the best Pure Stock action, go to Cheeseworks and watch them online.
Hi there, Steve Clancy, 12C B-Mod, USRA B-Mod. For the best racing coverage, watch Cheeseworks videos.
Side by side before they can step on the loud pedal. Green flag high in the air. Much better start that time by. As Holman gets a good start, Jay Russell on the top side. Good battle between Jacob Dye and Moore. But right now, your current leader in that 19, leading the first lap. Thad Holman. Holman, Russell, Dye. That is your top three. As we've got 3 laps down that time by 5 to go. 3 laps down, 5 to go. But that 19 machine picking them up and putting them down. Good start for that young man. Racetrack looking really good and racy. As you can see that cushion moving up there, but right now looks like that preferred line right through the middle of the racetrack. As let's see if they cut into that lead that time by. They did not. The 19 of Holman pulls out a little bit further, 1.637, as we'll have a white flag this time by. One more time around for the 19th of Thad Holman, Jay Russell, and Jacob Dye. That is your top 3. But let's let him hear it from the pole, picking up his heat race win. That is Thad Holman in the 19 machine. Lights are out. We're going to go racing this time by. Step on the loud pedal, and we are racing. Good start for that 5% of Eddie. But Stephen Clancy out to the point. Eddie and Hale, that is your top 3. As we got 6 laps to distance, 1 lap down, 5 to go. But Stephen Clancy, Eddie, Hale, Downs, that is your top 4. 2 laps down, 4 to go. 2 laps down, 4 to go in this first of 2 USRA B-Mod. Heat starting inside row number 3 in the 1A, that's Jared Hilliard. Starting outside of him in the 3B, that's James Byrne, excuse me. Starting inside row number 4 in the 16E, that's Johnny Eds. Starting outside of him in the 55B, that is John Christofferson. Starting inside row number 5 in that 24B machine, that is Braxton Gibson. And starting outside of him in the 08W machine, that is Brett Weidman. Starting outside or inside row number 6 in the 12Z machine, that is Zach Pride. And starting tailback on the field, being able to make the call after not being able to make it his heat race in that 21 machine, that is Connor Johnson. So I was just talking to scoring in our close feature events that we've got going on here with our points lead. We have 3 points separating one and 4 points separating the other. It's a point per position. So to give you an example, if Stephen Clancy was to win and Sam Florence ran 5th, Stephen Clancy could win the championship. So something to keep an eye out for this evening as our traffic controller, Chad, gives them the one to go this time by. 12 laps of distance. Browning, second in points right now. Blake Hayes, current points leader, going to head on down into 3 and 4. Got to be side by side at the cone. Green flag high in the air, and we are racing here at US 36. Coleman Browning, Blake Hayes, Greer. That is your top 3 as Hilliard working that bottom side, trying to get around that 25 machine. But here we go. Coleman Browning going to lead that first lap. Blake Hayes in second. Blake Hayes gets a good run there off of 2, pulls right to the rear bumper of that 54 machine, but able to hold him off. Coleman Browning. Blake Hayes, Hilliard up to 3rd. Good jump for that 24 machine of Braxton Gibson up 6 spots so far, or 3 spots so far, up to 6. But out to a 1.108 second lead, Coleman Browning. Blake Hayes in second as we are 4 laps down as Christopher Crawfordson pulls off into the infield in that 55B machine. Something not quite, something went awry on that machine, but he is able to make it to the infield as we've got 6 laps down this time by, as we will get into some lap traffic here before this is all said and done, as Hilliard gets a good run, going to challenge for that second place position over Blake Hayes. Coleman Browning out to a 2.698 second lead. Coleman Browning able to navigate around that lap traffic, puts a car in between him and Hayes. Eight laps down, 4 to go. 8 laps down, 4 to go that time by for Coleman Browning. Blake Hayes in second, Hilliard in third. Ed's in fourth, and Greer as we got a caution on the racetrack for the 16. Something broke on that car. As we'll get our track crew out there to give him a push off. As we'll get 8 laps down, 4 to go. So it'll be a 4-lap dash to the end of this feature. Again, doing all trophy presentations at the end of the night. With Coleman Browning leading the first 8 laps. Can he hold off that 14H as we're going to bunch them all back together this time by in the Delaware double file restart. Leader out front and everybody else 2 by 2 by 2 behind. Again, 8 laps down, 4 to go. Here on championship night here at US 36. Looks like they need a little bit of help to get that car pushed off. Caution lights are out. We're going to go racing this time by. It's Coleman Browning. Leads him into the restart zone. Steps on the loud pedal. Good start that time for that 14H machine. Blake Hayes. Greer up to fourth. Ed, he falls back to fifth. Actually sixth as Gibson gets around him in that 24 machine. Good run from that young man after a not so good heat race up into the top 5. As we've got 10 laps down, 2 to go that time by. But Coleman Browning still out front. White flag that time by. Coleman Browning, Blake Hayes, Hilliard, Greer, and Gibson. That is your top 5. But your feature winner tonight in that 54L machine, that is Coleman Browning. Blake Hayes in second, Hilliard in third, Greer and Gibson. That is your top 5. Let him hear it as he comes down the front chute in that 54L machine. Your feature winner tonight, Coleman Browning. Up next on the racetrack is the Pure Stock Division's 12 laps the distance. Starting on the pole in that 11J machine, that is Jake Starmer, our current points leader. Starting outside of him in that 15E, picking up feature win number 2 here at US 36 last week. In that 15E, that is Eddie Knoll. Starting inside row number 2 in that 55T machine, that is Mick Ross. Starting outside of him in the 22A, that is Alvin Christofferson. Starting inside row number 3 in that 4B machine, that's Jared Burns. Starting outside of him in that 6th place position in that 11S machine, that's Tyler Starmer. Starting inside row number 4 in the 8 machine, that is Pat Gomez. Starting outside of him in that 25K machine, that's Crane Crockett. Starting inside row number 5 in the 10, that is Nick James. Starting outside of him in that 10th place position, that is the 03 of Gabe Query. And starting tailback on the field in the row number 6, the 4W of Aaron Wilhout, and the 983 of Mark Richardson. Caution lights are out. We'll go racing this time by. Green flag high in the air. Good start for that 11J machine of Jake Stormer. Eddie Knoll, Mick Roth, Christofferson, and Stormer. That is your top 5 as we get through 1 and 2. But Jake Stormer, Eddie Knoll, and Mick Ross could throw a blanket over the top 3. As it looks like early on in this, as we've got 2 laps down, 10 to go. High side is the preferred line, as these guys are nose to tail. Caution on the racetrack for Pat Gomez, bringing out the caution as we've got 4 laps down, 8 to go. Jake Stormer, Eddie Knoll, Mick Ross, Christofferson, and Stormer. That is your top 5. Again, 4 laps down, 8 to go. in this Pure Stock A feature event this evening. Out on point, our current points leader. Eddie Knoll taking the outside. Leader out front and everybody else 2 by 2 by 2. Looks like lineup is correct. Chad, our traffic controller, giving them the 1 to go sign. Green flag high in the air. Again, 4 laps down, 8 to go in this Pure Stock feature event. Can Jake Stomer put an exclamation mark on this championship tonight by picking up the A feature win? Green flag high in the air. Gets a good start. Eddie Knoll, Mick Ross side by side right behind him. Mick Ross slides up the racetrack. Let's see Eddie Knoll battling back there on the top side. Still side by side for that second and third place position. Mick Ross up to second that time by. Eddie Knoll battling back there on the top side. Mick Ross pushes up the racetrack there just a little bit, and we lose one off the racetrack. Christofferson off the racetrack. Can see the car moving down there. And back up and on the racetrack. Whew. That could have been bad. Stays on all fours. Able to pull back on the racetrack in that 22A machine. Boy, oh boy, was that. Could have been way worse. 6 laps down, 6 to go. Caution light's going to come back on. Race command will start talking to these racers in their ear, but our running order should be Jake Stomer, Eddie Knoll, Mick Ross, Tyler Stormer, Jerry Burns. That is your top 5. The lineup is correct. Jake Stormer out front, Eddie Knoll to the top again. Mick Ross on the inside as we did go back to the last scored lap where Eddie was running second. Oh, did we lose the 15? Looks like we lost the 15 of Eddie Knoll. as they head off into the restart zone. Green flag high in the air, and we are back racing here at US 36. Jake Stormer with a good start that time. Mick Ross really makes that bottom side work as we've got one in the wall. It looks like the 4W of Aaron Will Hoyt. Hard hit. Hard hit as he gets crossed up there. Driver is okay. It looks like we're going to have to put the car on the hook here. As we've got a break in the action, come on up to the trackside concessions. Get yourself something good to eat, good to drink, as we still got 3 more features after this one. As Scotty's Tow and Rescue, always doing a great job here at US 36 every week. I want to thank them so much for being our wrecker service here. If you need any records services, give Scotty's Tow and Rescue a call as they work to get that Ford W machine off the racetrack. Do have Mike Kraft in the house tonight. Cheeseworks videos. So if you'd like to catch some of this race action, you can get on to Mike Kraft's YouTube channel. Check out the racing action again here tonight. Something you might have missed. Mike does a great job on this championship night, as it looks like we've got the 4W up on the hook. Get that car pulled to the infield so we can get them racked back up here and get this A-Fincher event back on to green. Gonna go single file the rest of the way as Jake Stormer leads them off into the restart zone. Green flag high in the air. We are back racing here at US 36. Mick Ross with a good run on the bottom side, catfishing around the bottom. Jake Stormer. 7 laps down. 5 to go. Mick Ross not going away, but that high side momentum really working well for that 11J machine to Jake Stormer. Mick Ross, Tyler Stormer, and Burns. That is your top 4. 8 laps down, make that 9 laps down this time by. 3 to go. Time in the hourglass running out for that 55T machine. As he changes up his line there, pulls within .449. As we've got a battle shaping up for that first spot there. 10 down. White flag this time by Lap traffic not going to play a factor. Does Mick Ross have anything left to challenge that 11P as he hustles through 3 and 4? And your feature winner will be Jake Starmer. Mick Ross in second, Tyler Stormer in third, and Jared Burns in fourth. That is your top 4. Up next on the racetrack will be our IMCA Sprint Car, a feature event, 20 laps a distance. Starting on the pole in the 36 machine, that is Chris Couch. Starting outside of him after a really good heat race. In that 19 machine, that is Thad Holloman. Starting inside row number 2 in that 92J machine, that is JR Topper. Starting outside of him, picked up a feature win earlier this year here in that 76 machine, that is Jay Russell. Starting inside row number 3, also picking up a feature win in that 43 machine, that is Jake Greenwood. Starting outside of him after picking up the feature win here last week for the Shauna Dye Memorial, that 20D machine, that is Jacob Dye. Starting inside row number 4 in that 6 machine, that is Logan Moore. And starting outside of him in that 9 machine, that is Lane Moore. Starting 5th row inside of that 25 machine, that is Gunnar Pike. And starting tailback on the field in the 45, that is Monty Ferreira. Ferreira finished second here last week. Gunnar Pike also has had a multiple feature wins here at US 36, so keep an eye on that back row, as I don't think they're going to be in the back there very long as we work to get these cars fired back off and get them racked up here. 20 laps the distance. If you get a chance, stop by the Beer Shack. Check out the US 36 merch that we have in the house. And again, remember, next week, racing action here at US 36, Saturday night with the Melvin Bank Late Model Series, our EMOD division, and our Pure Stock division in the house. The Melvin Bank guys will be racing at Lakeside next Friday night and then here on Saturday night. So excited to have them in the house. As we get these cars all ready to get pushed off. So as we get these cars fired off after 2 feature events, it looks like, as long as everybody makes it through tech, Jake Stormer will be our track champion here at US 36 for our Pure Stock division, along with Blake Hayes picking up the championship in our EMOD division. That's unofficial, but that's what it looks like as we get these cars pushed off here. Again, running order for our A feature in our IMCA Race Saver Sprint car. Starting on the pole in the 36, that's Chris Couch. Starting outside of him in the 19, that's Thad Holyman. The 92J of J.R. Topper. The 76 of J. Russell. Starting inside row number 3 in the 43, that'll be Jake Greenwood. And starting outside of him after picking up a feature win here last week in that 20D machine, that is Jacob Dye. Starting inside row number 4 in the 6 machine, that is Logan Moore. Starting outside of them is Lanny Moore. Starting on the tailback, that's the 25 of Gunnar Pike and the 45 of Monty Ferreira. That is your starting lineup. 20 laps the distance. As it looks like we've got them all racked up here. Yep, Chris, our traffic controller, giving them the one to go this time by. Caution lights out on the speedway. Again, 20 laps the distance as they head off into the start zone. Green flag flies, green flag flies. Jay Russell with a good start that time by working that top shelf, but that 19 machine of Holyman out to the point. Jacob Dye right there, and Topper and Jacob Dye third and fourth. As we've got one lap down. 19 to go. Long race here. As that 45 machine of Monty Ferreira already up 5-6 spots. Four laps down that time by. 4 laps down that time by. For Holyman. Russell in second, Topper third, Dye fourth, and Monty Ferreira up to fifth. Monty started tailback on the field and already up to fifth. But already out to a 1.561 lead in that 19 machine. Picking them up and putting them down. 7 laps down. 13 to go. Lap traffic going to take effect here in just a minute. We'll see how that 19 machine navigates it. Let's watch these lap times. See if that slows him down any. Does it look like he had to check up there a little bit for Couch? Yes, he did. Lost a second. That to Russell, as we've got a caution on the racetrack for that 36 machine. Got some debris on the racetrack. They're out of turn 4 as we were almost halfway home, 9 laps down. 11 to go. But you've got the 19, that's 76, the 92J, and the 20D. That is your top 4. Again, 11 laps down. Holyman had come out to almost a 2-second lead there before that 36 machine broke in front of him. Russell was able to cut that lead down to under a second when that happened. So Cone is out front. Nobody can pass before the cone. Going to show them the 1 to go this time by. Caution lights are out. Gotta be single file. Again, nobody can pass before the cone. They're on the front stretch. Steps on the loud pedal. We are racing again. Holeman, Russell, top or die. Russell working that top shelf. Right up there against the cush, doing a little high side hustle. As Holeman on the bottom. Working that bottom to perfection. See if that lead change. Yep, Jay Russell did cut into that lead that time by. As we are 11 laps down, 9 to go. 11 laps down, 9 to go. Cut into that lead again by 1/1000th of a second. Jay Russell working that top side. Cut into it again as we're going to have a challenge. Jay Russell sitting P2, wants to be P1. As Holeman working that bottom side. Jay Russell works that top. But Holeman able to hold Jay Russell off that time by. As we've got 14 down. Make that 15 down this time by. 4 fingers and a thumb left in this A feature for our IMCA Race Saver Sprint Car Division. Jay Russell high side hustling as that 19 machine of Holeman catfishing around the bottom. Can he hold off that 76? As he gets a great run down the backstretch as we've got them 2 by 2 coming through 3 and 4. Do we have a new leader that time by? Yes, we do. Jay Russell to the lead. Holeman in battles back. Gets a good run there on the bottom side. Able to battle back around Jay Russell. 17 down. Make that 18 down. 2 to go. Holeman, Jay Russell putting on a show here at US 36. 1 to go this time by for that 19 machine. Jay Russell in second. Gets a good run down the back chute. See, can he get through 3 and 4? He throws it in there. And that Holeman able to hold him off that time by. Picking up the win. Jay Russell in second. Jacob Dye in third and Topper in fourth. That is your top 5 or 4, excuse me. My, oh my, that was a good race. But the young man in that 19 machine able to hold off the 76 of Jay Russell. But up next will be our USRA B-Mod division. Starting on the pole in the 12C machine. Second in points by 3 points. 3 spots is what he needs to get over our 42 of Sam Florence to pick up this championship tonight. But starting on the pole in that 12C machine, that is Stephen Clancy. Starting outside of him in that 45, that is Wes Bestian. Starting inside row number 2 in that 5%, that is Lucas Eddy. Starting outside of him in the 12X, that is Chris Wright. Starting inside row number 3 in the 52J, that is Clay Hale. Starting outside of him in the 211 machine, that is Tim Eaton. Starting inside row number 4 in the 345 machine, that is Jimmy Downs. And starting outside of him, 8 on the field in that 42, that is Sam Florence. Caution lights are out. Green flag this time by. 15 laps the distance. Stephen Clancy leads them off into the start zone. Green flag flies. Green flag flies. Stephen Clancy with a good start that time. Bestian working that top side, but coming through there. Already up one spot in that 211 machine. That is Tim Eaton up into fifth. Up, make that fourth as he gets around right that time by. Florence up to eighth. Two laps down, 13 to go. Good battle for that third and fourth place position. As Eddie had it, Eaton wanted it and took it. Eaton up to third. Wright and Eddie, but out front so far, leading all 4 laps so far, out to a 1.95 second lead. That is Stephen Clancy. Five laps down, 10 to go in this USRA stock car event. Florence trying to do everything he can to get around that 52J machine of Clay Hale. Clancy stretches out that lead to 2.597 that time by. As that 211 machine getting ready to get right to the rear bumper of Wes Bestian. Sam Florence gets a good run down the back stretch, trying to see if he can get around that 52 machine of Ale. Pulls right to the rear bumper as we are halfway home that time by. Stephen Clancy gets into some lap traffic. Able to navigate around that. But a good battle for that second, third place position between Bestian and Eaton. Right in fourth. Able to get around that 52J machine. Sam Florence up to 6. $11 laps down. As our leaders wanting to make sure this thing stays green. As he's out to a 4.175 lead. And more important than anything is Sam Florence is still sitting in 6. 2 laps remaining. As we've still got a really good battle for that second and third place position. But your leader, Stephen Clancy, comes down, takes the white flag one more time around. Stephen Clancy, as Florence able to get around Eddie. That'll move him up into 5th. But your feature winner tonight in that 12-seat machine, that is Stephen Clancy. In second, Wes Bestian. Eaton in third, Wright in fourth, and Florence in 5th. Picking up the USRA B-Mod feature win tonight in that 12C machine, that is Stephen Clancy. All the cars still have to make it through tech. But if my math is right, I think Stephen Clancy just won the track championship by 1 point. That's unofficial, but I believe he might have just done that. Your USRA stock car feature event our nightcap of the evening. Starting on the pole in the 7, that is Shane Bailey. Starting outside of him in the 7X, that is Doug Keller. Starting inside row number 2, our current points leader in that 37D machine, that is Brad Deary. Starting outside of him in the 12X, that's Matthew Lance. Starting inside row number 3 in that 35G machine, that is Gavin Greer. Starting outside of him in the 15E, that is Eddie Knoll. Starting inside row number 4 in the 47X, that is Connor Masoner. Starting outside of him in the 91J, that is Jalen Wettengill. Starting inside row number 5 in the 13D, that's Jonathan Pierce. Starting 10th on the field in that 34X machine, that's Mick Ross. Starting tailback on the field, the 222 of Jake Newman. And Custer is able to make it, the 33X of Justin Custer, as they head on down into the start zone. Loud green flag high in the air, stepping on that loud pedal. Good start for Doug Keller. Shane Bailey working that bottom side. Doug Keller gets a good run as we've got them side by side in through 3 and 4. But your leader will be, I don't know who led that. Doug Keller working that top side. Shane Bailey on the bottom, but your leader will be Doug Keller that time by. Doug Keller, Shane Bailey, Matthew Lance, Brad Deary, and Eddie Knoll. That is your top 5, as you could throw a blanket over that top 3. As we've got 3 laps down. 12 to go, 3 laps down, 12 to go. Shane Bailey changes up his line, moves to the top side there. Going to gather himself up as we lose the 34. Mick Ross into the infield. Shane Bailey right there on the rear bumper, but here we go. Matthew Lance going to throw his name in the hat there. Working that bottom side. As you can race all over this racetrack tonight, the top 3 are putting on a show. Matthew Lance has found something there on the bottom side. Shea Bailey on the top. Doug Keller out front. Deary and Knoll, that is your top 5. Great run for that 7 machine. The 12 of Matthew Lance gets out of shape into the infield. We're going to stay. Nope. Caution. Caution will fly. Caution will fly for the 12X of Matthew Lance. Gets crossed up there, facing wrong way in a one-way. Hits the tire. Going to have to go tag the rear of the field. Great run he had going on. That was a good battle between them top 3. But your leader, Doug Keller, Shane Bailey in 2nd, Brad Deary 3rd, Eddie Knoll 4th, and Jalen Wittengill. That'll be your top 5. Bailey to the inside, Deary to the outside. As we'll go Delaware double file restart here. As our traffic controller gives them the 1 to go. Caution lights out on the speedway. Doug Keller going to lead him down the back chute. Looks like Jake Newman going to rejoin the field. There on the back stretch. Caution light will come back out for that 222 machine of Jake Newman. He'll have to tag the rear of the field, go into the hot pit. Race Command talking to these drivers, making sure the lineup is correct. We'll give them one to go this time by Doug Killer, Shane Bailey, Brad Deary. That is your top three. Doug Keller heads into the restart zone. Steps on the loud pedal. Green flag high in the air. We are back racing at US 36. Doug Keller, Shane Bailey, and Brad Deary. Brad Deary working that top side. Gets a good run down the backstretch up into second. Going to do a little crossover move. Nope. Rethinks about it. Going to follow Doug Keller. Down the front chute, Brad Deary gets a good run as we've got a caution on the racetrack for that 13. D of Jonathan Pierce crossed up there facing runway in a one-way. Work to get that 13D machine off the racetrack as Scotty's tow and rescue. Again, doing a great job for us here at US 36 for all your tow and recovery needs. 24-hour, 24/7 tow recovery with Scotty's Tow and Recovery. And Doug Heller hold off that pack of wolves behind him as Brad Deary working that high side hustle. Gets around Shane Bailey there for second. Brad Deary, our current points leader, running second. Whittengill up to fourth. We'll see what Race Command decides. If we're going to go Delaware double file restart or single file the rest of the way. So we're having a little technical difficulty with my race pass, or I'd give you guys the lap count, but I don't know what it is. I think we're somewhere about 9 laps in, I believe, but sometimes it's hard for me to talk and count at the same time. But what a feature have we had. Heartbreak for Matthew Lance. He was running third there when he got crossed up and hit the tire there on the infield, had to tag the rear of the field. It looks like Scotty's Tow and Recovery getting that 13D up on the hook. Remember, next week here at US 36, Saturday night, not Friday night, but Saturday night we'll be racing with the Mellon Bank Late Model Series in the house, along with our Pure Stocks and E-Mod divisions. Super excited to be here for that. Should be a great event, as it looks like we will be going Delaware double file restart as the caution lights. Nope, we're going to go one more time around. as we've got them stacked back up here. Chad, our traffic controller, gives them the 1 to go this time by. Doug Keller out to the point. Brad Deary chooses the top side. Going to put Shane Bailey there on the bottom. Caution light still going to go out there. Looks like we had to get them racked up. A little bit of confusion there. But looks like we are correct. 1 to go this time by. Doug Keller, Deary, and Bailey head off into the restart zone. Green flag high in the air. We are back racing at US 36. Doug Keller with a good restart that time, right in the middle of the racetrack, trying to do a little block as Brad Deary gets the top side there, as it looks like something's wrong with the 15 of Eddie Knoll, but he'll bring her down to the infield. Will stay green and green that time by. But Doug Keller able to pull out to about a 2-car length advantage over Brad Deary, but Brad Deary gets a good run through 3 and 4. Holds off Shane Bailey there, working that high side to perfection, doing a little high side hustle as, oh no, the 12X of Matthew Lance back around again. That will be his second caution of the evening. He'll have to take that back track side, as we do have a 2-spin rule here tonight at US 36. Heartbreaking for that young man as he continues to get faster and faster. Had a good run going until that first caution. Looks like a right front flat gonna make the night short for Eddie Knoll, as he had a good run, was in the top 5. We'll give him the 1 to go this time by, as we'll go single file the rest of the way. Doug Keller out to the point. Brad Deary, Shane Bailey, and Jalen Whittengill up to 4th. As they enter the restart zone, green flag flies, green flag flies. Doug Keller right through the middle of the racetrack. Brad Deary D's that thing off, gets a good run down the back chute, pulls to the rear bumper of Doug Keller. Shane Bailey wants to throw his name in the hat there too. Says, whoa, don't you guys go on and have no fun without me. But Brad Deary gets another good run, arcing that top side. Doug Keller. As we've got 2 to go. White flag this next time by. Brad Deary working that top shelf, pulls right to the rear bumper. White flag in the air that time by for your leader, Doug Keller. Doug Keller hustles on down through 3 and 4. And your feature winner tonight in that 7X machine, that is Doug Keller. Brad Deary in second. Shane Bailey third. Custer up to 4th after missing his heat race. Good run for that young man. But your winner tonight coming down the front chute, In that 7X, that is Doug Keller. That will conclude our night of racing. We'll have trophy presentations down on the front stretch. As cars come out, I'll get some words with our feature winners.
Well, folks, hope you enjoyed that here tonight at US 36. We got raindrops now, just kind of starting kind of lightly. So it looks like they kind of got it finished up just in time. But another great night of racing here at US 36. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in to Cheeseworks videos. I think I better hurry up and get this electronic stuff put away before it starts pouring, because it's second time it started, but it looks like it's not going to give up this time. But check us out next week. You never know where we'll be. Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday, who knows. But that's going to do it here for 36. Y'all take care and have a good weekend.